Welcome to Bucks Talk, insight, analysis, and your chance to sound off on the game you just heard. Now to break it all down, here's your host, Justin Garcia.
So it turns out Damian Lillard is as good as advertised, as he's now up to 65 points that he has scored in clutch situations so far this season. 65 points scored for Dame. His career best is, I think it was 183 that he did through 43 games. So, look, if anything we've learned from this Bucks team is that they're going to continue to play a lot of these types of games, whether you view that as a good thing or a bad thing. But at the very least, you're getting a lot of reps in those closing situations, and it's not an exact like for like and replicating the postseason. But I would much rather go through some of these games now than get to the playoffs and all of a sudden figure out, well, what do we do in these tight games? Who do we go to? I think we've seen that in years past with the Bucks. That is certainly not going to be the case this year. And I know there was a lot of chatter after the Blazers game. We talked about a little bit of the consternation centered around why is this team trailing by 26 to the Blazers? I think a lot of fans looked at the injury report today and saw no Tyler Hero, no Jimmy Butler, and assumed, okay, well, this is the Bucks extracting the revenge in Miami. Early on, it kind of felt like that. You held them to 22 points in that first quarter. You built up a double-digit lead, and then it just started to slip away. But if there is one constant that we have seen from this group, well, actually two. One of them has been Damian Lillard being the best player in the clutch this season. The other is, say what you want about the defense and some of the issues that they will face and how this group looks overall through 48 minutes. But this has been a much different group as the game progresses. We see the defense get better. I'm not here to tell you it's an elite defensive group. I'm not here to tell you it's even a very good defensive group. But they have been good in the fourth quarter, and they have done just enough to win these games. I think the big thing that we have seen from this team is the numbers tell us the defense has basically been a better than average defense since that first game against the New York Knicks, when Brook Lopez was put into the drop once again. Overall on the season, the defense has not been great. But since they've had a lot more of those comforts, and they've still continued to tinker with everything else on the perimeter, I think we saw even more of it tonight. Part of that was the matchup and where Bam Adebayo likes to play. But it's not just the traditional drop defense. They're still doing some things differently. And that, frankly, is what you need to do throughout the course of this regular season, is that's the time to work on those things, to try those things. And this group is doing that. And in those games that the Bucks have played since Brook Lopez has clearly been much more comfortable in his role with the defense has done everything you could ask for. If you want to nitpick the first quarter, that is perfectly fine, because the first quarter, for the most part, has been brutal for this team. They've been one of the worst, if not the worst, first quarter team, offensively and defensively all season long. But the fourth quarter has been a much different story, and as Adrian Griffin has pointed out time and time again, fourth quarter has to be your best quarter. And especially those last 5 minutes, you have to be elite in those last 5 minutes. And that's what this Bucks team has slowly started to do. A season as a whole, they have the 21st rated defense at a 115.5 defensive rating. Their offense, though, is third best in the league right now for the entire season at 118.4. Only the Philadelphia 76ers and the Indiana Pacers have been better this season on the offensive end. But we're going to keep pointing this out. As long as that defense is average, a little better than league average, we said that's where you've seen this group since November 3rd. 114.5 is their defensive rating since November 3rd. That is 17th. So it has gradually taken a couple of steps backward. It was right around 12, 13. It's been right around average since December 3rd. Or November 3rd, sorry. Offense has been 5th, but the number keeps increasing. It's 120.2 since November 3rd, and their net rating is in the top 10. The big thing with this group, the defense is going to gradually get better, but as long as that defense does enough to keep you in games, the offense should be good enough to take you home. And I think that is what we've seen quite a bit this season. Maybe not 13 times, but we've seen a very, very high volume of those performances being the defense doing enough to keep you in the game, really turning it on in the fourth quarter, and then Damian Lillard doing the same himself. 855-616-1620 is the Old National Bank talk and text line to join us tonight on Bucks Talk. Old National Bank, get old, so we'll take your text, we'll take your phone calls as well, your thoughts on this one. And look, I understand there's going to be a lot of nitpicking, that this is yet another close game. But it makes it more fun in a way, number one, and also, as I said at the top, these are the things you want at this point in the year. You want this team to go through these close games, to figure out how to win together. And we do have to continue to point out, look, it is going to get better. Giannis and Damian Lillard are still developing that chemistry. We saw the chemistry between Giannis and Chris on that lob tonight. I think you've really rapidly seen a lot of that chemistry build up between Damian Lillard and Brook Lopez. So all of these things are going to get better. We have to temper our expectations for the defense. It has to get better than around 20th. But again, if you can sit somewhere around 12, 13, even 14, and just be adequate, I think that is a reasonable expectation for this group. And I think that is going to be more than enough with this offense and how it continues to improve. And there's a couple of other factors why I do believe this defense is going to get much better in the second half of the season, and maybe even before that. But just continue to take those baby steps towards getting there. That's the big thing, and that's what this team has done time and time again now, about a month into the regular season. 855-616-1620, the number to join us tonight on Bucks Talk. A couple of calls trickling in. We will get to you after this as another clutch game, another game where Damian Lillard takes over, and the Bucks finally win in Miami. We'll dissect all of that and get to your calls next on Bucks Talk.
You're listening to Bucks Talk.
Heart disease won't stop us. Diabetes, allergies, cancer. Nothing will keep the Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network from pushing Wisconsin ahead. We're constantly raising the bar for medical excellence and providing more ways to receive it, so you have it for all your health needs, big and small. Let's push ahead, and we'll make life here as great as it can be. Visit Freighter.com to find out how.
So here's why you'd want an Armstrong air heat pump. Consider it a powerful electric backup to your gas furnace that can do the work of your furnace very efficiently. That means lower energy bills, and it has a rock-solid 12-year warranty and can act as an AC unit too. But here's the real gist of it. With all the government tax credits you get, you almost get the darn thing free. So see the man in the red van to get reliable efficiency from an Armstrong air heat pump.
You gotta see the man in the red van. Quality heating, quality heating.
Once you've lived with it, you know there's no comparison. Hydronic heating is the best in comfort. And when it comes to hydronic heating, the man in the red van can do it all with a 96% efficiency modulating heat boiler, slant fin wall-mounted radiating heat, cast iron radiators, or how about in-floor heat that we can even lay in below your new driveway on your new home build, so you never have to shovel. Now we're talking.
You gotta see the man in the red van. Quality heating, quality heating.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Stop into Ken Michaels Furniture for our sale on Bradington Young. Made in the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains, Bradington Young is an American icon in quality leather upholstery. Whether you are looking for power recliners or stationary seating, Bradington Young's furniture is made with enduring quality, outstanding comfort, and timeless styling. Save up to 40% now on Bradington Young upholstery at Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield and Greenfield. Visit us today. Give yourself the gift of sound sleep with a mattress set from Ken Michaels Furniture and Milwaukee Mattress. Handcrafted in our Milwaukee factory, our mattresses are custom built to your specifications. We offer special sizing, waterproofing, extra cushioning, and a variety of other options to accommodate your needs. Buy a mattress and a box spring set this week and get free delivery. For the best sleep of your life, stop into Ken Michaels Furniture on Highway 100 in Greenfield and Capitol Drive in Brookfield.
The Roundball Repartee returns. This is Bucks Talk.
Seven-point win in Miami in another game where Damian Lillard does everything I think we all assumed he would do and has continued to live up to his reputation. 65 points that he has scored in the clutch so far this season. That is 16% of his total point production. And at this pace, he is on pace to shatter the most he has scored in the clutch throughout his NBA career. I was tracking earlier, too, what the NBA record is. And I believe, it's not official, but I believe the NBA record was around 245 that LeBron James scored when they first started tracking this. James did it in the early 2000s. But I believe this tracking only goes back to around 98. So unofficially, 47 it was, is the record that we have seen for points scored in the clutch. De'Aaron Fox won the Clutch Player of the Year a season ago. He finished with just under 200. And Damian Lillard right now, a month into the season, has planted his flag as the front runner for the Clutch Player of the Year. 855-616-1620, the number to join us tonight on Bucks Talk. We'll also get you up to speed on the Western Conference scenarios. I know you're more interested in the East, but the West is all there's left to resolve, and we'll see if we get any word of when that game will be between the Bucks and the Knicks. The knockout rounds. So the quarterfinals begin on Monday. So the Bucks will either play Monday or Tuesday at home against the Knicks. So we'll see when that schedule is released. May not be until after the West Coast games wrap up this evening. Let's head to the phone lines, though, and start with Will I.M. You kick things off. What's going on tonight, Will?
Hey, Justin. What a nice win. We sure did kick, push, and coast, like Lupe would say. The Bucks became a whole different monster in the fourth quarter, man. I honestly, this is a bold statement, feel that we could be down whatever, but coming into the fourth quarter, I think our whole mindset, urgency, defense, movement, rotations, all that top-tier masterclass. When you have Dame and Giannis coming together, little freak time, you can't beat that, man. The ability to get Dame the space he needs to score, and then you can't foul Giannis when he goes 20 for 23 from the free throw line. You know, I just told my friends in our little group chat, if we can stay above 5 points, they're not going to be able to get us. And just sneak one out like that felt really good. And knowing that, we kind of just hung around, and then the fourth quarters came and we said, enough's enough. And you can't really beat that mentality, and that starts with our coach, Dr. Griffin. Crazy. Just so happy that we got that W.
Yeah, it was nice to finally win in Miami. Thanks for the call, Will, for the first time in very, very close to 3 years to the day. The last time they won there was the night that Sam Merrill hit the 26 three-pointer, which was the record breaker, and the Bucks would finish with 29 threes, an NBA record, in South Beach in a blowout win. I think it was 144-95 or 97, something like that, a blowout in Miami. That was the last time the Bucks had won in that building. And there had been a lot of ugly performances. You think back to game number 2 of the season, regular season, the year that the Bucks were defending the title. It was your first game without Brook Lopez in what would prove to be around 65 games without Brook that season. Bucks were run off the floor then. Of course, we all remember what happened in the postseason in the spring. So it has been a house of horrors. And it's yet another example of just how much Damian Lillard changes things for this team. Adrian Griffin talked about that after the game. We'll get to some of those comments in just a second, but head back to the phone lines and check in with Dick in Port Washington. How's it going, Dick?
Good. I think the best thing about tonight's game and the last since we had those real terrible games is that every game you can see improvement happening. I mean, yeah, we're down by 26, but you come back and win it. That takes a heck of a lot. I just think that everything is getting better. And I'll tell you one thing is that last year when we got down by 20-something, I don't know if we ever had a comeback. Yeah. And I think the difference is that our defense, and you're talking about you got to be in the top one, anything below the top, within the top 15, you're going to be fine because the offense is so strong. And it's not always. I mean, this sounds stupid. It is the most buckets you win, but it's a lot of times it's when you get the buckets. And a lot of our guys off the bench have got key buckets to stem the tide of the other team. And I just think that we're heading in the right direction. Every game's been an improvement, I think.
I think the biggest improvement is that, and look, I think from opening night to tonight, overall you've seen improvement. I think the biggest part of it is, Adrian Griffin says this a lot, but your fourth quarter has to be your best quarter, and especially the last 5 minutes of the game. They've been a much better defense in the fourth, whether that's just more recognition of what they're seeing from the opponent and going against, or just more reps. For whatever reason, they have played much better in the fourth quarter than they have the first quarter. And again, to your larger point, I agree that game Sunday against the Blazers, they probably don't win it a season ago, especially not if they're down by 26. A lot of these games, too, in their performance in the clutch this season, where they've arguably been the best team in the league. I know the Mavs have only lost one of those games. Mavs are in another one tonight that they're going to end up winning. But the only loss the Mavericks have had in the clutch is against the Bucks. So they've been very good in those spots, and a lot of it is Damian Lillard. And it's not just to say it's a one-man team, but I think we've certainly seen the value that he brings. We've certainly seen his ability to, no matter how rough his shooting night had been through the first 43 minutes of the game, to turn it on and be the guy that the legend was born around, that we had all heard about coming in. But I also think for the rest of the team, and Adrian Griffin kind of alluded to this after the game tonight, it does something for you mentally and psychologically to know we've got this guy on our side, that as long as we keep it close, this guy will take us the rest of the way.
Yep, I agree. I mean, we're fine, And I just have one question for you about the circus that's going on. Is so we play the Knicks again, right?
Yep.
We're going to play the Knicks again. So we've added on one game to playing the Knicks,
yep,
right? In our regular schedule and that.
Yep.
So if it comes down that our record is tied with the Knicks at the end of the year, these games will they count towards?
Yeah. The only game
who gets home court advantage.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
The only game that doesn't count.
Do you see anything? Yeah.
No, go ahead.
That's kind of funky, isn't it? I mean, it's kind of funky that it just doesn't. I don't know. I Wilbon tonight again. I mean, this is working. Ratings apparently are up. The players seem to be into it, but there's just a funky flavor to it. A tournament? This isn't a tournament. My God, we played Miami twice, but only one game counted. We played the Knicks twice already, I think, and only one game. Call it something else, or
the tournament starts on Monday.
Well, what was the other stuff?
It was your seeding for the tournament.
Okay, all right. Okay, so our first game against Miami didn't count towards the seeding tournament, right?
Yeah.
It did, okay. But tonight did. Who decides that? And why did they decide that?
I mean,
who is the supreme being with all-knowing powers to know that this game was more important than their first game against Miami?
Well, I mean, that man is Adam Silver, who came up with the concept of it. But I mean, look, they were also very clear.
If he had a God complex.
Well, they were also very clear on this. These are the group play games.
Yeah.
Yes and no. I mean, the league has made it abundantly clear. Here's group play games, and that's part of how radical some of these courts have been too, to differentiate. This is an in-season tournament game. This is not.
Yeah. I got to admit, the other night I did see a court that I actually liked. I can't remember who it was. It was, I don't know. I'm looking at the Miami court tonight. Oh my God, it's ugly as heck. Ours is ugly. Okay, but my point is that they're losing the fans that I've talked to, because I'm a defender of the NBA, that say, how can you even call this a tournament?
I mean,
people are used to a tournament where you play games after games and they mean something.
Well, look, who the
heck? Who picks out the games that are meaningful?
Well, again, these games did mean something, because when you just have 4 games, that makes them even more important for your seeding. And I think we saw that tonight, and you saw it on Friday as well, with the importance as you get down the stretch of those games. And once we get to Monday and knockout play starts, it's going to, there's your tournament per se, but it's also going to, I think, continue to increase all the attention. I get if you're more, and I'm not saying this is you, if you're more of a traditionalist, I get why it's I don't understand this. I don't like this. This is stupid. I don't care for this. But I do think what the NBA is trying to do is reach a lot more casual fans, and to look, they know they're never going to steal from the NFL and take away from that and be the number one sport at this time of year especially. But to just grab a sliver, because nobody that isn't a hardcore NBA fan paid attention to or really cared about the league until Christmas Day. And now with this, you're at least starting to change that somewhat.
Okay, I think there's a third of the fans. I agree with that. But I think there's a third of the fans that are true sports fans. People that follow the NCAA and say, the NBA, they blah, blah, blah. I've heard all those arguments. But now they're looking at it and they're saying, they're calling this a tournament?
But again, we haven't seen the tournament yet, though, Dick. So Monday, that's when you get to that, and that's when it's single elimination.
Okay, but the point is, so the NCAA then, when Michigan State plays Michigan...
Well, hang on, because I know where you're going. But then what's the point of any regular season? And what's the point of conference playing college basketball?
Because there's, I've got issues with that too, how you rank teams and stuff. I get where you're going on that, but for someone to truly say that I'm going to follow this tournament, and give me anybody in this country that would sooner win the what do they call this trophy?
Well, it's the
in-season tournament trophy.
No, it's the NBA Cup.
You want to win?
It's a clever name.
The cup. Unbelievable. It probably has a leak on top. You couldn't even put water in it. But would you sooner win that, or do you want to win the Larry O'Brien trophy?
I mean, I get your point, and I think if you're the Bucks and you're the Celtics and you're the Lakers, you want to win the Larry O'Brien for sure. But let's look at some of these teams that are in. So the Indiana Pacers are in there. The New Orleans Pelicans are going to be in the West too. Like, those are teams that haven't been in a lot of these types of moments before, that I'm sure they would be more than thrilled to win the first ever NBA Cup.
Sure, but you know what the critics are going to say? Are they going to be there in June?
Yeah.
No. I get what the NBA was trying to do to build up the thing. I think if you're actually going to have this tournament there, have a true tournament. You could arrange the schedule so that the whole month of November is just tournament play. I guess I understand what they're trying to do. I just think the way they've done it is gruesome.
Well, thanks for the call. And
let's agree to disagree.
Next week when it starts, we'll see if your feelings change once we get to single elimination play.
Yeah.
All right, Dick.
I guarantee you it won't. Okay, can I just say one other quick thing?
Yeah.
I have a premonition, and I hope to hell I'm wrong. I think in the championship game, a major player is going to suffer an injury. I know it. I just have that feeling. I hope the heck I'm wrong.
Well, let's hope the Bucks are not in the championship game then. Thanks for the call, Dick. We'll check in with you next week once we get a chance to see the single elimination aspect of this.
All righty.
Thanks for the call, Dick.
So I think I get a lot of the points that he made. And I do want to get to some of them on the other end of the break. But 855-616-1620, the number to join us tonight. The whole tournament thing, I've heard about that. It's not really a tournament. I get that confusion. But I'm telling you, once we get to Monday, you saw how these games went tonight. Once we get to Monday, and it's, I know not to the same levels in terms of the volume, but it's basically the NCAA tournament with NBA players, where it's going to be single elimination, and it's just 3 rounds. But if you were on the fence or not on board, I think that's going to start to sway you once we get there. We'll also check in on some of those scores in the West and see if we know what the field of 8 will be just yet. We know the 4 that are in the East. We know, I believe, 3 of the 4 teams in the West. So we'll update you on the rest of that after this on Bucks Talk.
The Hardwood Homilies continue after this. This is Bucks Talk.
The Brewers' annual clubhouse sale returns for 2 days only, Friday, December 1st and Saturday, December 2nd from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Head to American Family Field to save up to 80% on Brewers apparel, game-used items, and memorabilia. Plus, get a free Brewers water bottle or tumbler when you spend $100 or more while supplies last. It's the Brewers' best sale of the season, right in time for the holidays. Don't miss out.
So I came to Advent because I was experiencing recurrent sinus infections. As a new mom, it was really kind of difficult.
Many of our patients complain of sinus infections. The headaches, fatigue, and nasal stuffiness have a profound effect on their lives.
I just felt like your sickness starts affecting your energy level and, the things that you really enjoy doing. That really was a breaking point for me.
So Molly came to Advent. Abnormally tight sinuses and swollen turbinates led to simple breathing triangle solutions that ended up taking about 20 minutes in office. And very soon thereafter, she was breathing freely.
I'm just in awe at the amount of air that that I'm able to breathe in and out each night, and I haven't had a sinus infection since the procedure.
I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. When you breathe well, you do live better.
Results may vary.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffini for Omaha Steaks and omahasteaks.com. I've struggled to figure out what to buy someone for the holidays. I've actually decided this year Omaha Steaks is what I'm going to do. I've received boxes of Omaha Steaks on my front porch. Nothing better. I've given it to my son-in-laws. I've given it to the people who appeared on my show here. Nothing says gift better than Omaha Steaks. Here's what you got to do. Go to omahasteaks.com. Enter the promo code WTMJ, $30 off your order. The holidays are here, and the jolly elves at Omaha Steaks have your wish list covered with guaranteed perfection during their Black Friday, Cyber Monday sales. Go to omahasteaks.com. 50% off site-wide, plus our $30 off your order. Enter the promo code WTMJ at checkout. Delicious, tender, juicy, extra-aged steaks. My mouth's watering. I know yours is probably as well. The possibilities are endless. Go to omahasteaks.com. Enter the promo code WTMJ. Hurry, because the Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals at Omaha Steaks will be gone before you know it. omahasteaks.com. Promo code WTMJ at checkout. Minimum order may be required.
Welcome back to Bucks Talk.
Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came.
Bucks win in South Beach tonight in another game where Damian Lillard goes nuts in the fourth quarter. 13 of the final 23 points the Bucks scored in this game came off the hands of Damian Lillard. Giannis, by the way, finished the game a perfect 8 for 8 at the free throw line. His last 8 attempts, I should say. Finished 8 for 8 down the stretch after a 2 for 5 start. So he and Damian Lillard combined to go 20 of 23 at the free throw line. And we went through the numbers for Dame in the clutch. He has scored 65 points in those moments so far this season. That is the most in the NBA. That is already about 20 points behind what he did all of last season. Not the greatest comp because it was a Blazers team that wasn't good and wasn't in a lot of those spots. But if you go back to the 2016-17 season, that's when Damian Lillard had scored the most points in the clutch in his career. It was 183, I believe. He is on a pace right now that would certainly eclipse that. He's on a pace right now that would be right up there with the most points scored in the clutch since that stat started being tracked. The Bucks defense has continued to get better as the game goes on. And the Bucks defense and overall metrics since November 3rd, and again, we continue to point out that November 3rd date because that's when we saw Brook Lopez utilized more in the drop, and this defense certainly started to clean up a lot of those issues. The breaking point was really that loss in Toronto. You had 2 games that you lost, and in both of those games, it was ugly, start to finish. The opponent just ran all over you. When you think about Atlanta coming to town and what they did the first weekend of the season, a wire-to-wire win for the Hawks, a blowout win. A Hawks team you hope to get some revenge against on Saturday. And then that game in Toronto, which was really, that was the ugliest that we saw this group. And it was clear, we got to do things differently. Maybe everything that Adrian Griffin is bringing here, we can't do it yet. Maybe it won't work here. So let's try to slowly implement these things in. In the meantime, let's use Brook Lopez where he's more comfortable. And, I mentioned it a couple of times. The players came to Griff and said, this is what I think we should do. This is what I want to do or what we want to do because of not only how much it would impact Brook, how much it would impact our team knowing Brook is back there. And Griff has said from day one, he wants that open dialogue with this group. He wants everybody to be able to have a voice. It doesn't mean what you ask for is going to happen, but he wants you to know your input is valued. And for a first-time head coach who had been through the interview process, 13, 14 times, didn't get a job, for him 4 games in to say, you know what, maybe we don't have to do things my way or the highway. It's big, and I think it's a good sign for this team and for Adrian Griffin. Offense has been elite. It has started to get to that level that, we had discussed. This is where this group should be sitting around and finishing. 5th best offense in the league since November 3rd. Neck and neck with the Phoenix Suns and the Philadelphia 76ers. And just behind the Thunder and the Pacers, who are going to finish the season likely with the best offense in the history of the league. But the defense, as long as you can sit somewhere around 15, just be good enough. Be league average and let the offense take you there. That's what we've seen in all of these comeback wins and all of these clutch wins. Damian Lillard's huge, but as I said on the postgame show, it's not just Dame today. Chris Middleton hit a pair of big shots. That fading, I should say, corner 3 were 2. Then his pull-up jumper where he got to his spot, knocked down the shot, gave you a 2-possession game. Brook Lopez with some big plays. Andre Jackson Jr. with a couple of big threes in the fourth quarter. It kind of stopped the run that the Heat were going on. And, of course, what Giannis did, too, with 33 points and, again, hitting his last 8 free throws. It was a number of guys. Malik Beasley with some big shots. So this wasn't just Damian Lillard taking us there. But it does a whole lot for the psyche to know this Damian Lillard guy we have on our side. We do know who 7 of the 8 teams are going to be in this in-season tournament, in the knockout portion of the well, it is the tournament. So again, in the East, we will have the Bucks hosting the Knicks and the Indiana Pacers hosting the Boston Celtics. The winner of those two games will play each other in the semifinals in Las Vegas on Thursday. So the Bucks' first game will either be Monday or Tuesday. Now, you still have one other game to make up. All of these teams, you only had 80 games on your schedule. So the teams that did not qualify for the knockout round, they will be playing each other for the quarterfinals. They will be playing each other 2 games. How the league figures that out and the travel that's going to go into play for that, because of the fact that this isn't simply divisional games, right? Who knows? That's all TBD. But the 22 teams that did not reach the quarterfinals will play 2 games next week against the other 22 teams. So the Bucks have their 1 game schedule that they know of. If they lose against the Knicks, I believe they would play whoever loses in the Pacers-Celtics game on the road as their second game. And then, of course, if you reach the finals of the in-season tournament, you'll just play 83 games, though none of these statistics from that game will count towards the season. So in the East, those 4 teams are set. In the West, the Lakers already clinched last week. They wrapped up their group with a 4-0 record and a 74-point differential. Now, it helps to have a really, really bad Memphis Grizzlies, a really, really bad Portland Trail Blazers team, and a Utah Jazz team that's been bad down the stretch. Down the stretch is in the last, 2 weeks, I should say, this early in the season. So the Lakers are the 1 seed. The Houston Rockets entered play tonight against the Dallas Mavericks. Mavs were already eliminated, but the Rockets knew if they win, they would win Group B. Yes, the Houston Rockets would be moving on into the quarterfinals with a win tonight. They did not. They lost to the Dallas Mavericks. So the New Orleans Pelicans will represent Group B with a 3-1 record. And then out west, even more west, I should say, in Group C, your 5 teams there were the Kings, the Timberwolves, the Warriors, the Thunder, and the Spurs. Thunder and the Spurs were both eliminated already. The Timberwolves' chance was at a 3-way tie and winning by a blowout to up their point differential. They won tonight, beating the Oklahoma City Thunder, but they only won by 3. And the Thunder, by the way, finished with a point differential of negative 58. That is the worst in the league. The Charlotte Hornets, who the Bucks and Knicks both feasted on, finished minus 54. The Bulls finished minus 48. The Memphis Grizzlies finished minus 56. And then you have the Spurs, who finished minus 58. But the Timberwolves won, beating the Oklahoma City Thunder. They only did it by 3. So Minnesota finishes flat in point differential, meaning we will have a 3-way tie, but the Timberwolves are done. So whoever wins tonight, or we could have a 3-way tie, I should say. Whoever wins tonight in the game that's on right now between the Sacramento Kings and the Golden State Warriors will win Group C. If the Kings win and win by at least 5 points, the Kings will host the New Orleans Pelicans. If the Warriors win and the Warriors win by 28 points or more, they'll host the New Orleans Pelicans. Otherwise, the Pelicans are going to host whoever comes out of Group C, and you'll have the Lakers hosting the Phoenix Suns in the other game. So again, Monday and Tuesday is when this begins. 2 games each day in the quarterfinals, and then Thursday brings us the semifinals. So you could have a back-to-back. If the Bucks play Tuesday and lose, there's a chance they're playing Wednesday. Or actually, no. Nobody's playing Wednesday. So if you play Tuesday and lose, you'd be playing Friday, your second game. The only game on Saturday is going to be the championship game, and then no games played on Sunday. 855-616-1620, the number to join us tonight on Bucks Talk. It's getting closer in Sacramento, but the Warriors still up 14 early in the third quarter. So winner of this game is going to represent Group C. We will take a look at more of Damian Lillard's clutch performance because we've talked about the raw point production he has done, but his efficiency is really something to behold when you compare it to his overall season numbers. We'll dive into those after this on Bucks Talk.
You're listening to Bucks Talk.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi.
Our production department really kicked it into gear this season, and we finished before we thought we would. And we'd like to keep our people working until the snow flies, so we're going to offer a discount. Now, a lot of discounts you hear about, they're just off an already inflated rate that ends up right in the same slot as everybody else. In this case, because we're past our break-even point, we can offer a real discount. And here it is. We can afford to take 10% off your roofing project if you call and sign up before the end of the year. If we can't get to it because the weather turns south on us, we'll still hold your price for next year. And this isn't some fugazi discount. It's 10% off what our pricing would normally be. It's for roofs only, and it expires at the end of the year. So take advantage of a nice discount on top quality workmanship from good people who care. We're Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi.
Old National Bank.
I just got your home equity loan, and this feeling of joy and exhilaration overcame me.
Yeah, it's a phenomenon we call getting old.
Wow, so I'm not the only one?
No, small business owners feel it with expansion loans. Families feel it when they're setting up trusts and 529s. Nonprofits who need financing to help the community. And anyone who needs investment advice, they all feel it.
So it's not just me?
No, you're in a pretty big club.
Like a club I can join?
I really don't.
Is there at least a secret handshake?
Old National Bank, where relationships and results matter. Old National. Get old. Member FDIC.
Hi, John McGivern here. Did you know Network Health has Medicare Advantage plans that give you $25 a month back towards your Medicare Part B premium? That's $300 a year back in your pocket. Isn't that great? Call 833-7-NETWORK to learn more today. Network Health Medicare Advantage plans include PPO plans with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in Network Health Medicare Advantage plans depends on contract renewal. Certain restrictions apply to the Part B giveback. Visit networkhealth.com/Medicare/extra benefits for details.
You can find affordable holiday decor at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores. Find cute Christmas decorations, ornaments, trees, and home decor, all at thrift store prices. Gift cards are also available for that shopper on your Christmas list. You'll never overspend on holiday items from St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield and 23rd and Lincoln in Milwaukee.
Ooh, you're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
The Roundball Repartee returns. This is Bucks Talk.
Seven-point win in Miami for the Bucks, who are now 13-5 on the season. Just a game back of the Boston Celtics through all the perils and the I don't know about this team or this coach, and I don't like what I see. Yet the Bucks just a game back of the Celtics. I'm not saying there aren't things to improve or work on, but you do realize this could be much worse. This is where the Bucks are for a slow start at 13-5. Things will continue to round into form here. There are certainly things to improve and address, but you have to be encouraged by what you've seen so far, especially with the way this team has played in the clutch. No one in the league has played better in the clutch than Damian Lillard, arguably through his career, certainly not through this season. This season, Damian Lillard has scored 416 points. He has scored 65 of those in the clutch. So you do the math. 16% of his points coming in the clutch, which is not normal. His best year, I think, was like 6% of his points. This has very much been a, hey, just get us there and I'll take it from there. 65 clutch points, leads the NBA. He has 14 points in front of Mikal Bridges, who has the second most. And so far this season, Damian Lillard is shooting just 42% from the field, 34% on threes, 93% at the free throw line. Okay, so 42, 34, 93. 42, 34, 93 splits. In the clutch, where Damian Lillard has scored 16% of his points so far this season, Damian Lillard is doing so on a 52 10 percentage points better. 44, 10 percentage points better. 97, 52, 44, 97 splits in the clutch. And he is a plus 45, whereas he is just a plus 19 for the season as a whole. He has truly been invaluable to the Bucs so far this season. 855-616-1620, the number to join us tonight on Bucs Talk. Still a little bit of time to hear from anybody else that wants to sneak in a text message or a phone call. One other thing worth pointing out from tonight, the sneaky importance of this win. We'll get to that and a little more intrigue around the Knicks game for reasons kind of related to this point I'm bringing up about tonight. We'll do that after this on Bucs Talk.
The Hardwood Homilies continue after this. This is Bucs Talk.
Heart disease won't stop us. Diabetes, allergies, cancer. Nothing will keep the Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network from pushing Wisconsin ahead. We're constantly raising the bar for medical excellence and providing more ways to receive it, so you have it for all your health needs, big and small. Let's push ahead, and we'll make life here as great as it can be. Visit Freighter.com to find out how.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Do you hear that hissing sound? I think it's the sound of some steam being let out of the fall housing market. Some buyers have taken a break. Homes aren't selling on the first weekend anymore. Some are still selling over asking, but fewer and by not as much. Some sellers are even willing to chip in toward buyer closing costs to get their asking price. Now, do you hear that knocking sound? That's opportunity. Opportunity for well-prepared home shoppers. This dip in home buyer demand is not going to last, and mortgage rates are forecast to dip next year. Here's the best part. AccuNet can show you how to use a seller closing cost credit to lower your monthly payment by $100 or maybe even $200 a month for the first year or two while we wait for the refi window of opportunity to open, which we can typically accomplish with no loan costs. It's your choice, fear or opportunity. Click on the blue button today at AccuNet.com and become a confident, opportunistic, rock-solid home shopper. That's ACCUNET.com.
Hey, Sandy Max here. Have you heard about my friends at Three Pillars? They're located on 300 gorgeous nature-soaked acres in Dousman, with over 10 miles of walking and biking trails crisscrossing the Bark River. This serene setting is also home to Wisconsin's top-rated continuing care retirement community. Continuing care means every facet: independent living, assisted living, skilled nursing, and rehab. So whatever you need, Three Pillars is the best, and you deserve the best in your retirement. Learn more at threepillars.org.
St. Nick's Eve is Tuesday, December 5th, and Winky's Hallmark and Gifts has everything the jolly old guy needs to stuff the stockings. Candies and chocolates, children's books, ornaments, plush toys, winter hats, and so much more. Bring the fun back to holiday shopping at Winky's, where you'll find something for everyone on your list. Visit us on the corner of Silver Spring and Lake Drive in Whitefish Bay, or shop online at winkysgifts.com.
Gotta get to Winkies now.
Welcome back to Bucs Talk.
Still keeping an eye on that Warriors-Kings game in Sacramento. It's 85-70 Warriors midway through the third quarter. I said the winner of that is going to win Group C. One thing to clean up from that, the Warriors would need to win by at least 12. So if the Warriors win by 12, they would have a point differential of 17. The Kings would also have a point differential of 17. But the Warriors have scored more points than the Kings have through the previous 3 games, so they would win on that the third tiebreaker, which is total points scored. So Warriors not only need to win, they need to win by at least 12. The Kings just need to win, and they would advance by the winners, being the winners of Group C. A couple of text messages to get to here. Giannis and Dame, the best duo in the league and closing out fourth quarters. And the clutchiness of Giannis and Dame do it again when the Bucks needed it the most. And that's the big thing to point out is, again, we can fawn over Damian Lillard, and rightfully so. He has been even better than advertised. But this isn't just a one-man band, especially tonight. You know, Damian Lillard was the closer, But there was a lot of contributions, even in those final 5 minutes. Giannis's clutchness at the free throw line. Chris Middleton, those 2 big shots that he hit, even early in the fourth quarter, those threes from Andre Jackson. So this wasn't just team completely lost and had to lean on Damian Lillard to take them home. This was a total team effort. 110 points scored from the starters in this victory tonight. And look, Damian Lillard's going to grab the headlines and get most of the attention, rightfully so, because scoring 13 of the final 23 points, doing it again, 65 points in the clutch now this season. And again, those numbers, 10 percentage points better. Field goal shooting, 3-point shooting in the clutch, then throughout the course of the game, and a 97% free throw shooter. He has only missed, and I shouldn't even say it because we'll do the old announcer jinx, but he's only missed 1 free throw in the clutch so far this season. So we are still awaiting when the quarterfinals would begin for the Bucks. But as I mentioned before, it will either be Monday night or Tuesday night. We know it's going to be in Milwaukee. We know it's going to be against the Knicks. It'll either be Monday or Tuesday. That's when the quarterfinals start. Semifinals, if the Bucks win that game, we know they will play on Thursday night. So they'll have 2 games Thursday in the East semifinals and the West semifinals. And there's a good chance, well, all but confirmed, if the Bucks do end up winning in the quarterfinals and advance to the semifinals, we already know the tip times for the semifinals, and that is 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. So the Bucks would likely play at 4 o'clock next Thursday if they advance to the semifinals. 855-616-1620, the number to join us tonight on Bucks Talk. We'll take one more break and wrap up the show after this on WTMJ.
You're listening to Bucks Talk.
So I have been in the operating room most of my career, watching people have orthopedic surgery, watching people get knees replaced, hips replaced, shoulders fixed, and I knew there had to be a better way.
That's Dr. Daniel Zuckerman, a medical director for QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in non-invasive regenerative treatments for pain relief.
I see so many people who could have been helped before they got to the operating room if only they had known about regenerative medicine.
QC Kinetics, a natural alternative that uses your body's own healing properties to help restore and repair damaged joint tissue, providing long-lasting relief without drugs, surgery, or downtime.
Well, it feels great when I do get to see somebody who we help, who I know I kept out of the operating room. It's amazing how we change people's lives without surgery.
Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
What do you mean he's not coming in? This is our busiest time.
The mixologist at Claude's Bar is moving to Manhattan.
I'm already down 2 bar backs. No one's manning front of
Now he needs an equally cosmopolitan replacement.
How am I going to find a new bartender before New Year's Eve?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
This holiday season, Capital One reminds you to give yourself the gift of 1.5% cash back with the Capital One Quicksilver Card.
Can I earn 1.5% cash back on birds?
Birds?
What if you sent your true love 2 turtle doves plus a partridge in a pear tree?
Sure, but why would anyone want that?
The song was very convincing.
Earn 1.5% cash back on all your holiday purchases with the Capital One Quicksilver Card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Set your game plan for a new baseball season with a 2024 Brewers 4-pack. Pick from 4 action-packed plan choices, each loaded with can't-miss Brewers games to fit your schedule and the best ticket prices. All available before single-game tickets are sold. Plus, when you buy a pair of 4-packs, you'll get a limited edition Brewers knit hat. Find the right plan for you today at brewers.com/4packs.
The Round Ball Repartee returns. This is Bucks Talk.
Ain't no way they can stop me now, Daddy, 'cause I'm on my way. I can feel my rain coming. It's the blood of a champion.
Warriors up 15 on the Kings. So again, with that scenario, the Golden State Warriors would be the fourth and final team in the West. So that's the only team we are waiting on. 7 of the other teams, of the 8 teams, have been decided. In the East, it is the Bucks hosting the Knicks next week. The Pacers are hosting the Boston Celtics. And then in the West, we know the Lakers are hosting the Suns. We're waiting to see if it'll be the Kings or the Warriors as the fourth team. The Pelicans are in, so we're waiting to see who the fourth team is. And by way of point differential, will it be the Pelicans or will it be that other team that is the host for the quarterfinals? And as I mentioned, semifinals are 1 week from Thursday. Semifinals and finals will be played in Las Vegas. The quarterfinals are played in the host team markets. So if the Bucks reach the semifinals, there's only 2 games that night, and they are 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock Central Time tips. Bucks, you figure it out with one Western Conference game and one East. The Bucks would be the 4 o'clock game. So potentially some afternoon basketball next Thursday. If the
now
Bucks,
that's afternoon.
That is not the 5:30 afternoon start. Like that's afternoon. Not really right in the middle, but that's afternoon.
Even nowadays, that's before it gets dark.
Very close. We had a 5 o'clock against the Magic a couple weeks ago, but that was a Saturday. This is 4 o'clock on a weekday.
This is like pull out your laptop and have the boss button on during work.
I know Dick's not going to want to hear it, but this is like the NCAA tournament where you're
start at 11 o'clock?
4 o'clock on a Thursday. That's what we're potentially facing here. So I believe we'll know what day and what time the Bucks play against the Knicks shortly after this Warriors-Kings game. One other thing I do want to point out. So the kind of forgotten about importance of tonight's game is with that win, the Bucks have clinched the season series against the Miami Heat. So should Miami start to pour it on down the stretch, right now they're 7th in the East. I think if you're the Bucks, you would be more than happy with potentially finishing 3rd if the Miami Heat are going to be in the play-in tournament again. But if it would come down to a tiebreaker, a month into the season, the Bucks have already clinched the tiebreaker against the Miami Heat. And here's the added intrigue for this in-season tournament. We know they're going to play the Knicks. The Bucks have 4 games on the schedule against the Knicks this season. So now, by way of the quarterfinals, they will play 5 games against the Knicks this season. The Knicks are currently 10-7, 5th in the East. The Bucks are 2nd. There is a chance you could finish tied with the Knicks. You will now have an odd number of games against the New York Knicks, so head-to-head will decide the tiebreaker should there be a tie between those two teams now. And if I know Adrian Griffin urged us not to look ahead, because that's the other part that's a little strange about this in-season tournament is we're going to know who's qualified and what the quarterfinals matchups are, and then in between now and then, you're going to play 2 more games before that starts.
That's what you got to change. I would like to go right into the quarterfinals.
So that's what the Bucks are waiting on now. But if we can look ahead, you could have a Bucks-Celtics semifinals, which again, Bucks have 4 games on the schedule against the Celtics, so you would have 5 if that's the case. Semifinals, those count. It's the finals that doesn't count for anything else, so you could potentially have a tiebreaker there as well. Thursday night, the Bucks head to Chicago to take on the Bulls. It's a 7 o'clock tip-off. 6:30 is when our pregame coverage begins. And as always, be sure to stick around after the game for more Bucks talk. We will talk to you Thursday night following the Bucks in Chicago against the Bulls on Bucks Talk.
Searching for the perfect holiday gift? Look no further than Fox World Travel and give the gift of travel this holiday season. We're proud to partner with the world's finest travel companies, including Apple Vacations, Globus, Avalon Waterways, Holland America, Princess, Royal Caribbean, Delta Vacations, Disney, and more. From ocean cruises to river cruises and guided tours to beach getaways, your dream vacation starts with Fox World Travel. Visit foxworldtravel.com or call 866-GO-FOX-GO. Happy holidays from Fox World Travel, where dream vacations begin.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Your Salvation Army donation feeds the hungry. Share your hope today at samilwaukee.org.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
From ABC News, I'm Richard Cantu. Water utility officials in Aliquippa, Pennsylvania say the hack by Iran-affiliated players that got them partial control of the drinking water system did not impact the main computer or threaten water quality.
Officials noticed Friday night that a computer that helps control water pressure for 2 townships was malfunctioning. The group claiming responsibility called themselves Cyber Avengers, saying they were attacking because the water utility used equipment made in